First off, we always put in how many permits are issued, but I think one thing that'd be maybe more relevant as we pick up is maybe how many inspections we're actually performing a month.
Okay.
Because that's a better barometer of how we're gonna be able to keep up if building picks up on it. Because, you know, we may issue 600 permits, well, those permits may only require one inspection. So if we could actually have the number of inspections performed each month, I think that'd be a little better barometer. And then I just had a question for Amanda, and you saying that we're settling a lot of the unlicensed claims. How are we doing that?
Well, because we file criminally in most cases, if a contractor comes forward, usually, you know, there's a spectrum, right? There's the guys who are really going outside, and then there's the guy who used his backhoe to help a neighbor and is trying to figure out what he's doing with that sort of thing. So it really depends on the spectrum. But these guys who figure out, oh, okay, I did something wrong, I didn't know about it, come forward and work with us. You say, okay, go get tested, get licensed, let's see what you're doing, pay a penalty, understand that if you do this again, you know, we're going to be in trouble. But a big part of it is getting them so they understand not only the requirements in the state laws, but so they're not violating the rules and statutes anymore.
So, but are we requiring them to pay the fine that's called out for in the?
Yes.
Okay.
Sometimes more. It really depends.
Okay, as long as we know. Okay. That's all I have.
Not sure if everybody's aware, but there was a mass exodus from the Electrical Bureau in the Las Cruces, Dunedin County area. Can you give us an update on what's happening there? I see where you're advertising one electrical inspector position, but we lost 3.
Yes, I'll make a quick comment, and I'll let Bureau Chief Kelly comment. We're seeing a lot of, several inspectors leaving due to the salary disparity, and it's a concern. And so some of the other entities are looking at our inspectors, certainly because of their qualifications and the relationship that they've made with those inspectors, and they're saying, hey, I'd love to have this kind of person on my staff. And they're able to offer a better salary package than the state has at this moment. I'm looking at that, we're working with that, we're in contact with SPO, and we're just seeing what we can do and stay within the parameters that I'm given. So, Kelly, would you like to comment further?
Yes, sir. Thank you, Director McMurray. Chairman Baker, Commissioner Wooten. CID continues to be a training bed for other agencies, is what it boils down to. So we exercise a lot of professionalism in our Bureau, and I think that's recognized. So that and the ongoing pay disparity. Inspectors take generally about a 50% or more pay cut to come to work as an inspector out of what you can make in the private sector. So most of us that come in for the benefits and the retirement, and if you can make enough to pay the mortgage and put groceries on the table, that's a blessing. So, but the state has never inspectors are the lowest paid people that walk onto a job site. But all of us know that coming in to work as an inspector. So you have to have that approach to things to begin with. But to say that we've had a mass exodus from the southern region is not really an accurate stipulation. And I'll give you the straight up facts and where we're at with that and what we're doing to overcome that. So George Baldonado left the Silver City area for employment at about another third above his wage that he could make in the state in Arizona, and George is out there. Also, Jesus Marquez, who has been with us about 2 years in the Las Cruces area, was attracted down to the El Paso electrical inspector position down there for more money. And then also, the one that it really hurts the most is Chief Inspector Ray Benavides. Ray has enough time in to retire, and he's devised a way to double dip. And so since he's going to work for UTEP in Texas, he can go back to work there in the public sector there in Texas while exercising his retirement benefits here in the state of New Mexico. So all of these folks that have left down there, we've had 3 leave. I've written letters of recommendation to them. We held a big barbecue at the house last Thursday night to recognize our people that are retiring and that are leaving. And they go with my blessing. They've worked hard for CID and for the industry, and I'm glad that they're able to better themselves. What we're doing to stay current with inspections, I had my blue jeans on, that should tell you something. The tie comes off after the meeting, and I'm busy doing inspections myself. So I'm balancing my duties as bureau chief with what I like best about being an inspector, and that's inspecting. We're busy. We have hired Larry Rivera as a roving inspector. Larry was up in the northern region, and he's hired in as a rover. Larry's currently his post of duty is Albuquerque, but he's posted in Silver City right now, handling Georgia's area. And Ron V. Hill has been traveling, Chief Ron V. Hill has been traveling down, assisting Marty Campbell and Ray with their inspections down the Rio Grande corridor. Ray's last day will be October the 31st. What's on the positive side is inspectors from other agencies hearing of these openings. I have 2 inspectors from other agencies, which I won't name right now for their own privacy, but they have requested to fill those positions. So I have 2 certified inspectors that have state certified and nationally certified coming over to our employment, one for the Silver City area and one for the Las Cruces area. So we're busy and we're getting busier. We have some positions we need to fill. We are authorizing individuals in the Clovis Portales area to take the state inspector's exam. That's the first hurdle. The bar is high and it's intentionally set high. So we're working through that. We're keeping up with our inspections. It's not comfortable. We're burning into some long hours, long days, a lot of wear and tear on vehicles, but we're staying current with everything. So it was a shock to see that many people retire in one chunk, but we're going to come out on the other side of it, and we'll be okay. But if you'd like to come to work as an inspector, we'll entertain your application right now.
Would that be double dipping for me?
No, we make a special dispensation, Randy.
Thank you.
Several years ago, I think, when construction was on the uprise, right, I mean, we were moving up, we were also getting a lot of our inspectors poached. Poached might not be the best word, but they were going to the private sector because benefits and pay were better. And I thought we had a salary survey done that was supposed to adjust those salaries so that we could be a little bit more competitive in our hiring for inspectors. Did that get done? And or do we need to go back and revisit that whole salary issue?
I wasn't aware that had happened.
Yeah, I think it was 2 years ago was the survey done by the State Personnel Office. There was a slight uptick in the pay there. Right now, Pat and I are both working, Kathy's helping us as well with our internal HR and going to SPO to trying to get them to do another evaluation of our inspectors and the pay disparities. One of the things that we've tasked Rick Martinez, our new financial manager, with is looking into the disparities, whether it be by region here, the surrounding states for other inspectors, and also just looking at what's happening with the oil boom in the southeast right now. So we're trying to get some really solid data together to present to show them exactly how little our inspectors are being paid compared to the other states and other people in private industry. That's the only way we're going to be able to keep people on for a long period of time. Our turnover has always been high here, so.
Well, particularly if construction really picks up across the state,
Right.
it's just going to be that much tougher. And if we've got this many openings, when according to AGC and other people would tell you we lost 14 or 15,000 construction jobs in the last recession, and we can't fill these positions, that either says something that we're not offering a competitive salary or benefits, and we need to do something because, again, we'll have people and contractors in there complaining to us that we don't have, we're not making timely inspections because we just don't have the people to do it. And we've been there before, and it happened 5 or 6 years ago in Rio Rancho, and you see former Commissioner Steve Crispin back there who sat through many meetings listening to concerns about our ability to provide inspections on a timely fashion and how that was impacting construction and budgets and schedules. So I think it's time to really revisit that. I don't know what the commission can do to facilitate and push that forward, but I think we need to do something.
Thank you, Commissioner Decker. I appreciate those comments. We're in total agreement. We've submitted all of our employees, to get them to at least the midpoint of the rank they have in the state as far as the SLO is concerned, or 10% above the midpoint. That's the maximum we can do for salary standpoint. So we've submitted that paperwork to request that, so everyone is at least at that level. And then we're looking at some more things we might be able to do in the next fiscal year. So, thank you.
I think even if you look at going 10% above their midpoint, I mean, you're still 20 to 30% below the states around us and what they're paying.
That's correct.
I mean, I don't know if we need to go to the legislature or something, but somehow we need to get that adjusted because, and the fact that we're having to put in all this overtime to do these inspections, well, the more overtime we put in, the more mistakes are gonna get made in the field, and so it's just, human nature, we work 10, 12 hours a day and make no mistakes, and they're working 8 hours a day, so, I think it's a concern for everyone. Not just getting the inspections done, but getting quality inspections done at a certain point.
At the same time, we're working smarter. When I first got here, the inspectors out in the field, the phones they had, they couldn't even text, they couldn't even communicate. And so we've recently replaced all their phones with the iPhone. It gives them maps, it gives them the texting abilities, it gives them real-time, they take much better photos, which helps compliance. We've got a budget now, we're on a 5-year, it's kind of like painting the Golden Gate Bridge. By the time you get to the other end, it's time to go back and start painting it again. But at least we've got a 5-year plan of replacing our vehicles. We've replaced, we rank those in need and priority based on age and knowledge and maintenance data and all that. And we replaced some of that 23, got another 5 the other day. So we're slowly but surely attacking those kind of issues, trying to give the inspectors the tools they need to do a better job, do more with less. So that's where we are.
Very good. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you for the fine job you've done since you've been in your position. I think you've done a great job.
Appreciate it.
Next item, old business approval of July 16, 2014 meeting minutes.
I move we accept the minutes as presented or outlined.
Second was me. Okay. Motion by Commissioner Wooten, second by Commissioner Casey. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Opposed, no. Motion carries. Approval of minutes. Okay. Next item. New business, request for proposed new rules or rule changes to proceed to public hearing. Item 6A1, Rule 14-8, excuse me, Rule 14.2, NMAC, Mexico Plumbing Code.
Yeah.
Mr. J.P. Baca, welcome, sir.
Good morning, Commissioner, Mr. Chairman. Here this morning, the Mechanical Plumbing Bureau Chief to request approval to proceed to public hearing on proposed changes to New Mexico 14.8.2 to the New Mexico Plumbing Code. Construction Industries Division and Mechanical Bureau recommend these changes be approved to proceed to public hearing for public comment. My statement of reason would be that these changes promulgate a rule that will adopt the 2012 edition of the Uniform Plumbing Code as amended. And a public hearing will be held with the date and time and location to be determined. And that's all for questions.
You're just doing number 1 right now, 14.8.2, is that correct?
Yes, sir, just right now.
I'll make the motion that we send 14.8.2 in the NMAC Mexico Plumbing Code to public hearing.
We have a motion, second by Commissioner Kaufman. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Opposed, no. On to public comment. Motion carries. Next item, 6A2, Rule 14.8.3, NMAC Mexico Swimming Pool, Spa, and Hot Tub Code.
It's a lot, not a mouthful.
That is.
Mr. Chairman, members of the commission, as the mechanical bureau chief from here, recommend that we remove those changes to the Mexico Pool, Spa, and Hot Tub Code. Under 14.8.3, public hearing, as these changes will promulgate rule that will adopt the 2012 edition of the Uniform Swimming Pool, Spa, and Hot Tub Code as amended, and the public hearing will be held within the date, time, and location to be determined. And thank you for questions.
I'll make a motion, we approve.
I have one question. Would you like to just kind of follow up and explain to us the reasons why you're going that direction?
That I'm moving forward to the 2012 edition of the plumbing mechanical codes under IAPA, under the codes that New Mexico has been on for a long time, have been published over a couple of years ago. Sometimes people get the idea that as soon as a code gets published, that it's, you adopt it and you do it overnight. It doesn't happen that simply. It takes a good 18 months to vet the code, to look at form committees, and review all of the documentation and make sure it's going to be a good fit for us. The reason I'm moving forward with the 2012 edition, that is the current edition that's out. The 2015 edition is in formulation. It will not be published until late spring of next year. It's always been my knowledge historically to know that the first 2 or 3 publications that get put out in that first year's time will have some errata and some mistakes. And so we're now well into the 5th publishing, and I feel very comfortable moving forward and adopting these new codes. And it's just, I think it's the way to go.
Very good. Thank you.
Thank you.
Motion by Commissioner Casey, second by Commissioner Kaufman. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Opposed, no. Motion carries. Next item, 6A3, Rule 14.9.2, NMAC, the Mexico Mechanical Code. Mr. Baca, you're still up.
Mr. Chairman and members of the commission, I move that the changes to New Mexico Administrative Code 14.9.2, the New Mexico Mechanical Code, be approved to proceed to public hearing. The division in the Bureau recommend these changes to be approved to proceed to public hearings for public comment. These changes promulgate rule that will adopt the 2012 edition of the Uniform Mechanical Code as amended, and a public hearing will be held with a date, time, and location to be determined. And the reasoning for moving forward with these is the same reason we're now in this complete edition. I'm just ready to move forward, and I think it's the right thing to do at this time.
Now I'll make a motion that we send Rule 14.9.2, the NMAC, Mexico Mechanical Code.
That's your motion. Second by Commissioner Kaufman. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Opposed, no. Motion carries. Thank you, sir. 6A4, Rule 14.9.6, NMAC, Mexico Solar Energy Code.
Mr. Chairman, members of the commission, again, as Mechanical Bureau Chief, I'm here to propose that the changes to the New Mexico Administrative Code 14.9.6, known as the NMSEC Solar Energy, New Mexico Solar Energy Code, be approved to proceed to public hearing. The Construction Industries Division and Bureau recommend these changes be approved to proceed to the public hearing for public comment. These changes will promulgate rule that will adopt the 2012 edition of the Uniform Solar Energy Code as amended, and a public hearing will be held with the date, time, and location to be determined. And that stands for
Commissioner Decker.
JT, we seem to be developing a pretty robust solar energy installation sales industry in our state. Are you going to do outreach so that those contractors and sales organizations have access to this so that they'll show up and make substantive comments or suggested changes or bless it, I guess, would also be the thing.
Mr. Chairman and Commissioner Decker, yes, absolutely. We will now, if we go into the public commentary period, I will send an invite out to all of the industries that are affected by these codes and allow that if there's any proposed code changes that need to be put forward for review and also to take comment on these issues. Also, if we move forward and realize adoption, which is keeping within my timeline of January 1st, I have got Regional Director John Mata here with me from IAPL, and he's here to support me in any training I have to put forward. He's just been really supportive. The division's been supportive, and Director McMurray has already given me the okay to do training in several locations throughout the state to get this rule change out and to train the public on it if we go to adoption.
Thank you.
I'd just like to make a comment also, because that is true. I mean, people don't realize, but we're not adopting it, we're saying about the public hearing, and the problem is, we have public hearings and nobody shows up to them.
Yes, sir.
And so, I'd rather, have 2 hours at Capeless do for public comment, and then we know, or at least we're making the right decision for people who understand the industry. And I'm a general builder, I know a lot about plumbing mechanical, I don't know everything about it, so I'd like to have some people who comment that I can rely on their comments when we make a decision. And fortunately, most times that doesn't happen. Most times, that tape is blank. And so, if there's any way we can get some people in the industry and the general public both to come out and make comments on these, it'd help all of us out a lot who aren't mechanical.
Look, that's a good thing, though, when you're having those hearings.
She attended ours, and so I appreciate that.
Mr. Chairman, Commissioner Casey, your comments are welcome, and yes, I do. This is my third or fourth code adoption, and so I've had the pleasure of learning along the way. And if you don't get the input at the very front, you're just beating yourself up. So it's easier to reach out and have people comment and invite your industry to give you that consensus. This way, they have never been too contentious, except for the old energy codes. And we're not here to do that. These are our base codes that we need for our industries to keep moving forward with changes in materials and changes in technology, and mainly for safety purposes.
Well, I think that we should always send rules out for public hearing, whether we agree with them or not. Let the public and industry comment, and then we can make our decisions. But, I'm all for sending everything out for public hearing.
I just have a comment. I'd like to see, or I'd like to know, during the invitation process, is it an email that you send out? And is there a follow-up call to key people in the industry to invite them to participate?
Mr. Chairman and Commissioner Edwards, I will send out an invite on a letterhead to my industry, letting them know that I'm moving forward with public hearing on these codes, and invite them to make commentary and also public comment. The notice for public hearing will be published on our website, and I'm not sure what other forms we use to invite for public hearing.
Statewide circulation, which is Albuquerque Journal, and also the New Mexico Register.
Thank you.
And do you find that that's effective in reaching those that need to be made aware of the upcoming discussion?
Commissioner, Mr. Chairman and Commissioner Edwards, yes, I think it's changed. It's been a little different than we were used to. Kind of pulled us out of our comfort zone. We now have a centralized public hearing, but we outreach through these circulations, through the public register, and you're right, through the Albuquerque Journal. We used to hold 3 different meetings statewide at a minimum, sometimes up to 5, and we would go to these locations and try to hold these meetings simultaneously, which proved to be pretty cumbersome, especially with shortage of staff. But now what we do is we hold a central calling line, and we have the representation from the Commission's Council here. We will have sometimes our commissioners here, and we take the commentary from outside of the area, outside the local area, we take it by phone call.
And Mr. Chair, Commissioner Edwards, I think there's, in the very beginning stages, we involve our technical advisory committees for each bureau, and, you know, we really have to tip our hats to them because they provide a lot of information and they have connections within the industry as well. So in the very beginning, before, whether it be general electrical or mechanical, they work with their TAC to bring this up, and I know that Clay does the same, working with his industry as well. And so early on, we have that opportunity to really talk to leaders of industry, which of course all those TAC members are picked by us, and they really are representative of the industry. So I think that, you know, they're kind of the unseen thing that really gets everything started, but they definitely deserve a lot of gratitude for that as well.
Thank you, Justin.
Very good.
With that, I make a motion.
There we have it.
That we send Rule 14.9.6 of the NMAC New Mexico Solar Energy Code to public hearing.
We have a motion.
Second.
Second by Commissioner Kaufman. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Opposed, no. Motion carries.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Next item, 6B1. Request for adoption of proposed new rules or rule changes. 1, Rule 19.15.40.24A and B NMAC standards. So what we're going to do on this is just
So just a vote.
Just a vote, okay. No public comment. Okay. Shoot,
You're going to decide on the record.
we're going to decide on the record on this item. Go ahead.
Okay. Mr. Chairman, members of the committee, CID along with the LP Gas Bureau with consensus from the LP Gas Technical Advisory Committee and the Mechanical Bureau recommend that 1950-40.24A and B of the NMAC move forward for the adoption. Statement of reason, the adoption of 1950-40.24A NMAC adopts by reference the 2012 NFPA 54, which is the National Fuel Gas Code. And the adoption of 1950-40.24B NMAC adopts by reference the 2014 NFPA 58 Liquefied Petroleum Gas Code. Adoption of these codes keep New Mexico in line with the current minimum national standards. These minimum national standards will help ensure the protection of life and property for the consumers and licensees of New Mexico. The new codes maintain a level of safety and address the safe use of new products and methods used by the industry. As with any adoption of new codes, there can be a cost impact. The LP Gas Bureau and the LP Gas TAC are in agreement that the cost impact will be minimal and will be offset by the added level of safety that these codes will ensure. A public hearing was held in Albuquerque, New Mexico, and only one comment was received, which was positive.
Very good.
I just got one question on this, because when you state that it's the national minimum standards, it's kind of a funny thing to say, because, I mean, there's states that are not on the current code. And so, it's my understanding that these are the national codes, but there's really, the federal government come out and say, we have to adopt these. So I don't, you know what I'm saying? I mean, when we say it's a national minimum standard, I think that's a little cloudy, because technically it isn't, because the federal government doesn't tell us we have to adopt these. Do you understand what I'm saying? Is that correct?
Yes, sir, Mr. Chairman and members of the commission, that is true. The NFPA is made up by industry leaders throughout the United States. These codes are worked on, and changes are done through many hours of debate, going back and forth and putting it together. Some of the states, you're correct, are behind further than other states. We're at one of the forefront of the states.
I just want to make sure people understand that, you know, this isn't a requirement from us by the federal government. We're adopting it because we think it's the best code for the state. And so I just want to make sure people understand that when you say it's a national minimum standard, it's not like the federal government's going and saying we have to adopt these minimum standards. So with that, I'd make a motion that we adopt Rule 19.5.40.24A and B, the NMAC standards.
Second.
Go ahead, it's yours. Excuse me, for the reasons stated by Mr. Bailey.
And I'll second.
Motion by Commissioner Casey, second by Commissioner Pickling. The closed photo finish with Commissioner Coffin. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Opposed, no. Motion carries. Thank you. Next, item 6B, 2, Rule 19.5.40.15D, NMAC license classification, scopes and fees.
Mr. Chairman, members of the commission, CID along with the LP Gas Bureau with consensus from its technical advisory committee recommends that changes be added to the NMAC 1950-40-15D and move forward for adoption. It has come to the attention of the LP Gas Bureau and the LP Gas industry that the LP5 licensee scope was not clear who can install or repair piping and equipment attached to cargo containers. Statement of reason, the rule change is to clarify that the LP5 license scope includes individuals that perform LP gas work on cargo containers. Through a recent incident that involved evacuating a daycare center and shutting down a major highway, it has come to our attention that individuals have been performing work that involved repair and installation on high-pressure vapor and liquid piping attached to these cargo containers. This rule change will help ensure individuals working with the high-pressure LP gas, vapor, and liquid have the knowledge needed to perform these tasks safely. And again, a public hearing was held in Albuquerque, and only one comment was received, and it was positive.
I would make a motion that we approve Rule 19.15.40.15D, clarification of license classifications.
Second.
For the reasons stated by Mr. Bailey, I'm sorry.
Motion by Commissioner Casey, second by Commissioner Pickling. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Opposed, no. Motion carries. Thank you. 6B3, Rule 14.5.2.8, G and H, NMAC permits. Welcome, Mr. Hunt.
Good, thank you. Chairman Baker, commission members, what you have before you is the proposal to adopt the solar PV systems revamp there. The Electrical Bureau with tax approval, having gone to public hearing in Albuquerque with statewide availability for phone and written comments, now proposes to move forward with adoption. The proposed Title 14, Chapter 5, Part 2 solar PV systems with revised language better reflects the actual industry requirements, will better align licensing requirements. The new NMAC solar section, as added in November 2013, provided new language and welcome relief to industry where dual permitting between general building and electrical bureaus existed. The changes now to the professional seal requirements and elimination of the collector and 10 kW limiting language better streamline the process. Additional revised language was requested by Commissioner Casey at the 521 CIC and is included now herein. The public hearing was conducted in Albuquerque Tuesday, September the 2nd from 9 to 11 o'clock with no negative comments registered. Thanks for listening.
I'd just like to make a comment if I may. These rules here will greatly clarify for everyone doing solar PV installations as to the requirements for roof engineering, who can actually install them and such on. So there's been a lot of confusion over what permits were needed to be pulled at the time. Do we have to have an engineer look at the roof, didn't we? And so these rules should greatly clarify all that and should make it much easier to comply with the rules. So I'm all in favor for this.
Is that a motion?
I'll make a motion that we approve Rule 14.5.2.8G and H in the NMAC under permits. For the reasons stated by Mr. Hunt and myself. Second.
Motion by Commissioner Casey, and I thought I heard one over here. It was a photo, I mean, it was a flash, but I believe it was second by Commissioner Edwards. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Opposed, no. Motion carries. Sir, next item 6B4, Rule 14.5.9, NMAC Code Bond Determination.
Come on down, girl. This is your best.
Why, thank you, Commissioner Hoffman. Mr. Chairman, members of the committee, we've been working on this, well, for a year now, maybe over a year a little bit. But I think due to a couple of discussions this morning and some things about the rules, at this time we would like to request a subcommittee to go over the bills again.
Really? I respectfully disagree with that.
I would move that we put the code bond issue to a subcommittee, and I would volunteer for that subcommittee.
I don't agree, but you can call for a vote.
I'll second that.
I think this has gone on way too long. I think we have a good rule now that meets all the requirements, and I think we're just gonna drag this thing out for another year.
I don't think we want to drag it out for another year. I think
That's
we
what's
want to
gonna
have
happen.
resolved. Would you two be willing to be on the committee?
I'll be on it, but the problems they have will never be resolved except through the courts.
So, do we have a solution? Do you have a solution other than a subcommittee?
Yeah, I want to pass my rule I have right now.
Motion second.
Second. A motion on the floor and a second.
So we have to vote on that.
I guess I'd like a little more discussion here. To get to this, could you describe the process for the rest of the commission and everybody out there in the audience, what was done and who participated and how we got to having this in front of us today?
Mr. Chair, members of the committee, this started well over a year ago. Commissioner Casey brought forward some suggestions, and myself and legal at the time, which was Justin Wook, we started with the first draft based on some recommendations for Commissioner Casey. That went for hearing it.
Can I make just one comment? First of all, this started about 2.5 years ago when the commission at our Chris's meeting passed a set of guidelines we wanted these rules to follow. And that's when the whole process actually started. And so the comments I made to you when we started actually drafting the rules were those comments that the commission had actually agreed to at that time. And so those the commission passed at our Las Cruces meeting 2.5 years ago, whenever that was. And that was kind of all started this. Amanda wasn't with us then, and so the whole process kind of got delayed. And then when Amanda came, you know, I thought it was important that we get a rule done because, for one, there's no rules on how it works, and for two, you know, homeowners could be missing an opportunity to collect this bond. At the same time, contractors could be missing out on their opportunity to appeal these things and not have to pay out on something they don't have to pay out on. So the rules are important. And so, you know, this is something we started 2.5 years ago.
Mr. Chair, members of the committee, I don't disagree with Commissioner Casey. These rules are important, but I think there are some technical issues that you all are going to have to decide as a policy, and I'm not sure where we stand on some of those. And I do agree that if we can leave this done before the next commission meeting, because this is important to me, this is important to Good Vision, this is important to homeowners, but having another couple of sets of eyes on this, maybe we will come to an agreement, or maybe we'll end up doing it again here on the commission floor. It's up to you all.
In a perfect world, what would you wish for right now?
An agreement with the subcommittee would be best. Not everybody on your guys' panel has had a chance to really dive into these, and maybe that will help get us where we need to go. I don't know. And Commissioner Casey and his group has been great. I want to say that. If he wasn't here pushing this whole thing, we probably wouldn't be where we are today. So I can't tell you how much we appreciate that. But I also think that maybe another pair of eyes or a couple pairs of eyes can help us get to some resolution. If not, we're going to be here in 2 months.
I will also mention that if we have a subcommittee and we change it, we'll have to go back to public hearing again.
Not necessarily.
Yes, if we make substantive changes that weren't brought up at the last public hearing,
That's a possibility, but if we make changes that were brought up at the public hearing, then it doesn't have to go back to the public hearing, it can be voted. And I don't want the courts to tell us what our rule says. I want us to dictate what our rule says. And as it stands right now, in my opinion, the courts are going to get involved, and they're going to be telling us what our rule says, and then our hands are tied.
well,
And I would think from lessons learned over the last several years, we don't want that. We don't want to continue down that path.
I mean, as far as at this point, the only thing I'm aware of that we're in disagreement of is a timeline. And the only way that timeline is, at least for man and myself, and the only way that timeline will ever get resolved is either a clarification from the legislature or a court case. Because we'll never be in agreement, because we don't see it the same way. And so, you know, we can either go to the legislature and ask for a clarification on what they meant, or someday we'll end up in court when someone doesn't get paid.
Well, unfortunately, this wasn't provided to us in our email packet, your rewrite, so none of us have had an opportunity to scrutinize it. So my motion still stands. To withdraw.
Commissioner Decker?
Would you guys accept a friendly amendment that this be resolved, brought back to the commission at the next meetings to address Commissioner Casey's concern of not dragging on for another year? And then that would give us all a chance to review it thoroughly.
Yes, I accept that amendment.
Well, me, you got a motion and a second, you need to vote.
And an amendment.
We have an amendment to the motion. Try to find some resolve prior to the next meeting to ensure that you guys have had a chance to review your revised proposal.
And the amendment, if I'm not mistaken, should state that the subcommittee will meet. So far, I've volunteered for that subcommittee. Will meet, resolve, and represent at the next commission meeting.
Well, and also make it available so we have it.
Available, so we'll have time to review that. You want to be on that committee?
I'll be on it.
Okay.
I'll second the amendment,
Okay.
and I volunteer to be on the committee as well.
Very good. We have our committee, we have our motion with the amendment. That's right. Vote on the amendment, then on the motion.
You can withdraw your original motion.
And accept the amended motion? Okay.
Withdraw my motion and accept the amended motion.
Reassert the motion.
Reinsert the amended motion there, so we're going to, well, you want to receive your minute?
So I think that the motion is that we're going to set up a subcommittee that will review the code bond determination piece of our rulemaking and come back to the next commission meeting.
And it's a copy prior to?
And give us a copy prior to.
And the subcommittee is Commissioner Edwards, Commissioner Wooten, and Commissioner Casey.
Correct. And that, actually, this rule should be probably on our website as part of our public notice, right?
No, we can make amendments at the commission meeting based on comments of the public.
So then we can put that motion on the agenda for a vote.
If you have sufficient time, I don't know when the next meeting is scheduled.
60 days from today. Well, roughly.
November 19th.
Okay, I hear a motion. I have a second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no?
No, me.
Okay. No, Commissioner Casey was a no, and it's unanimous. Excellent, thank you. Commissioner Director?
Chairman Baker, members, I just want to emphasize the importance of this. That this needs to be resolved. I know you know that. It's taking a long time, and it would really be difficult if this went on for another year.
I agree.
It's holding up some other issues that we're waiting, pending this, and so I implore you to meet soon and go through the new suggestions and really bring this. I think we're within one or two issues in the whole thing of being in agreement, and so I just think it's extremely important this gets resolved, and as your motion says, by the next meeting. Appreciate that. Thank you.
Thank you. And just to add my 2 cents, you know, Commissioner Casey, I appreciate the work you've done on this and the stuff you brought to light. And I also understand some of the other concerns. And, I just don't want to be in a situation where we're getting second guessed, we're getting told by the court system what our decisions have to be based upon their determination instead of our determination, which is why this commission was set forth to begin with. So, with that, we don't always agree on everything. As a commission, we make the right decisions most of the time.
Mr. Chairman, I want to clarify that the subcommittee has to discuss the reviews of the proposals.
Right. This will be closed, but the commissioner and the subcommittee will be discussing the issues and bringing that back to us.
Question with regard to closed, compliance division into that discussion?
I think
Because they're the ones that are proposing the rule.
I think that would be advisable because they're the ones that are proposing the rule.
As long as Mr. Chair, members of the commission, the record is closed, so as long as you limit your discussion to information that's already in the record. So as I understand it, the subcommittee would be discussing the pros and cons and some of the differences of opinion about the proposed rule, possible amendments there too. But the actual record has been completed in this, and the subcommittee will limit itself to considering that record and then making, I suppose, some sort of recommendation to the whole commission at the next meeting.
Yes, sir.
Mr. Chairman, I'd just like to comment, I would appreciate the fact that Finance or Deputy Director Wolf be able to at least come in and discuss the various issues and what the impact that either one would have on our day-to-day operations. I think they're good information and certainly tell you how we see the impact being affecting our day-to-day operations. So I appreciate them being part of that discussion. Thank you.
Good, sir. Next item. 6C, approval of elective continuing education courses and providers.
Chairman Baker, commission members, we have before you the executive summary, which we present, I think, just about every commission meeting now. We have an additional 25 courses. Some of these are renewals, and some are new providers. These have gone through review with the Electrical Technical Advisory Council Subcommittee, and so the Bureau presents these to you for approval for these new providers. Included in the courses there, I might call attention to the Commission to the last course listed there is a course that's conducted by the state, wherein on our code adoption years, we travel throughout the state, and in the major municipalities, we conduct a free 4-contact hour course educating contractors in those areas of the New Mexico Electrical Code amendments and highlights of the code changes. That's included in there. And we've expanded our course providers. Used to be just Bureau Chief and the Chief Inspectors, but we've selected key inspectors in key areas of the state to share the pain a little bit and have that forum there for those contractors in those areas. Stands before you for your approval.
Motion by Commissioner Kaufman, second by Commissioner Wooten. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. Carries.
Thank you, Chair.
Next item, 6B. I'm sorry, 6D. Approval of continuing education courses and providers. Mr. Baca, welcome again.
Thank you. Mr. Chairman, members of the commission, as the mechanical ability, I'm here to move that the courses and instructors submitted for mechanical plumbing continuing education be approved as presented. Construction Industries Division, with Mechanical Bureau, recommend that the enclosed continuing education courses and instructors be approved. The courses listed with their respective instructors will be viewed by the Mechanical Bureau and TAC and meet the requirements for continuing education to renew the mechanical plumbing journeyman certifications per New Mexico Administrative Code 14.6.3.9 E and F. And I have 4 new courses with 22 that are being renewed in the attachments. And I stand for questions.
Move to approve.
Motion by Commissioner Coppin,
Second.
second by Commissioner Pickling. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. Motion carries. I just see rigging and signaling for the mechanical. I like that. Next item, 6E, approval of license issued in July and August 2014. Mr. Brown, welcome today, sir.
Mr. Chair, Commissioners, you've been provided in your packets the new licenses issued for July and August, as well as the qualifying parties attached to these licenses, or to existing licenses for both CIP and the LP Gas Bureau. We ask you to approve these as submitted.
Commissioner Litter.
On the first page, under the portion pass report, there's 2 tests that are, well, actually, there's one test that's administered that doesn't necessarily have a license attached to it, called New Mexico Business and Law. Is that a test? Could you explain who has to take that test? And
All qualifying party applications are required, in addition to taking and passing whatever trade exams are applicable to a classification, to either pass the contractor business and law exam or complete a 2-day course that's offered by several private companies, construction seminars being one. So it's not a classification, but a condition for becoming a qualifying party, and referenced in the administrative code and the statute.
You know a little bit about business and law.
so you all have to take it.
Yes.
So every contractor, qualifying party,
Business and law,
business and law has to take that
taxation,
test.
revenue, issues like that.
Is it required for journeyman?
No.
Just for a
Contractor.
license?
Thank you.
I move to approve the licenses issued in July and August, presented by Mr. Bowman of CIP.
And motion by Commissioner Wooten,
I'll second.
second by Commissioner Pickling. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. Item carries. Next item. 6F, consent and posting of commission meeting minutes. How interesting. Is that me? Oh, where's my little letter? Sorry about that. That is me. Content and posting commission meeting minutes. I have before me here. Let's see. Looking at me like I should have this in front of me, and I'm trying to find it. speech. Kathy? We're missing something? Well, just to give you a summary of what my script said, it was concerning posting the commission meeting minutes. Typically, we post meeting minutes that are discussed in the transcripts of the meeting as it goes along. But the minutes will not reflect the director's report, as the director's report is just addressing what he sees and updating the commission on their report. And I think that what has happened in the past is people have taken out of context what the director's report was intended to detail, and that was just giving us an update on the lifeblood of the industry and bringing forth the information that we need as a commission, just so we have in our respective fields, what's going on in the field and what's going on in the industry and how you're meeting the needs of the state and how we're addressing some of the concerns of not only the citizens but the industry that we all represent. And I think it was just basically to outline that your report is not part of the meeting minutes, it's part of your comments to the board. And I think that was a brief summarization of what my intended speech was supposed to read, but I'll stand corrected, but that's not the case, and stand behind what I say. But I think that should suffice for now, and for those attending our meeting today. Next item is voting to go into executive session. Go to... I should know that one by heart. Yeah, I think we can make one up here.
I move that the commission move into executive session to discuss the cases listed under agenda items 7A through G pursuant to NMSA 1978, sections 10-15-1, H1, 3, and 7. Such discussions will pertain to the issuance, suspension, renewal, or revocation of licenses, deliberations on pending administrative adjudicatory proceedings, and pending or threatened revocation.
I'll second that.
Roll call?
Commissioner Casey,
Yes.
Commissioner Koshman, Commissioner Fickling. Yes. Commissioner Baker.
Yes.
Commissioner Decker.
Yes.
Commissioner Edwards. Yes. Commissioner Wooten.
Yes.
We now go into executive session.
Thank you.
Take a break.